Let's close that phase one execution step and move down to the pause, right? So at the end of phase one, we have the pause. If you remember, I talked about the pause being the secret weapon. Well, before I tell you why, let me explain how it is often underestimated, and it's the most misunderstood step when in fact it's the most critical step. We all know what happens if you announce you're about to send, 5 rockets to the moon at the same time. And this is the first time you've ever tried it. Picture it. The whole world is watching, news channels are on, the internet is streaming your footage, reporters are writing amazing stories. You go out and you light up all the rockets, and what do you think will happen on the first try? One will go up, one will come down, one falls over, the other one doesn't light, and the last one fizzles. Well, that's what happens when you bite off more than you can chew. It can happen to companies and organizations as big as NASA, SpaceX, Virgin Galactic, Boeing, or Amazon Blue Origin. The lesson to be learned from them is that one should never put their reputation or the safety of people or businesses on the line like that. They would never line up 5 rockets for the first time and try to fire them off on a space mission. It just wouldn't happen. There'd be testing, planning, engineering, phases, safety protocols. They would and have taken the crawl, walk, and run approach. So if you go back to the days of the Wright brothers, there was major risk-taking, trying to be the first one to come out with the new flight technology. But now it's a matter of taking calculated risks, safety, and planning. Now, there was an important word I mentioned that these types of companies undertake, and it's the concept of doing things progressively in phases. In Commercient, I've explained that we have a phase 1 sync and a phase 2 sync. Well, sandwiched in between the 2 phases is this step called the pause. It's named pause for a reason, and that is that we want the customer to pause. How long of a pause? Usually it's around 2 to 6 weeks depending. It's important to pause here, and if you can be disciplined, then this will not only the secret to your success, but the secret to how you pulled off a very smooth project that was executed in a controlled and flawless manner. On the other hand, if you try to be that space cowboy and blast through the pause straight to phase 2 and try to deliver a full 2-way sync to your users and wrap it up with a bow, then I will tell you now that skipping the pause will be your biggest downfall. Why is that? The reason why is to go back to what phase 1 is. Phase 1 is not just about syncing data to your CRM. Phase 1 is about something you may not even know about, and it hinges on the concept of the quick win. You see, there's another little secret, a dirty secret, in the ERP and accounting companies that lies behind phase 1 success. Over the decades, from the beginning of software computer time, the salespeople and the customer service people have never had good systems to use. If you're unaware, the use of CRM systems by salespeople only recently became popular. In the past, software was forced on salespeople, and it was seen as painful, boring, waste of time, a nanny tool. Salespeople would scoff at software and reject it in favor of paper notepads, spreadsheets, and emails. It's true. Salespeople have largely lived outside of computer systems for, well, forever. Most small and medium-sized businesses simply had no friendly, useful mobile software, no incentives, and no controls in place to make salespeople use CRMs. In the past, you will have seen that the salespeople and the customer service folks often had no systems, and they would be the go-betweens between customers and warehouses, between customers and accounting, between customers and service techs, between customers and the shop floor. They would be endlessly asking questions of others and copying and relaying to others, relay teams. Neither salespeople nor customer service folks have realistically had visibility into accounting data until Commercient came along with their implementation of the phase 1 sync to the CRM or e-commerce. The way Commercient constructs the data going to the CRM is to sync and display the full context of the relevant data from the accounting system. What makes us different? I won't go into all the details for the sake of time, but the main principle is that the legacy ETL companies, what they're doing is transactional point-to-point integrations, varying only a few key fields each way. Commercient does a full sync of the relevant data tables and objects. A typical CRM might only have a dozen fields relating to a customer, but as you know, the ERP system might contain many dozens of fields. So it's all of this wealth of information that's being diligently added and expanded upon daily by the users in the ERP system, to which the sales and customer service folks have never seen. They've never seen the light of day. The data's never seen the light of day. Now think about that for a moment. What is often the fundamental root of problems in companies? It's often summed up as one party or system is not communicating well with another party. The word communication is key. It is used to explain a breakdown in the transfer or access to information by people or by computer systems. Well, I can tell you that your sales and customer service teams have suffered for decades without access to information in the accounting, distribution, and scheduling systems. What they've done is spent the last few decades sending emails to other departments, asking them what the status of a payment is, the status of a shipment, the status of a customer's account, the levels of inventory in the warehouse, or the status of a project or a customer custom bill of materials. So step back and think what an achievement this will be if you can deliver phase one. Remember, you're not just delivering phase one, you're delivering information that can help a user do their job more efficiently. That's right, you can make sales and customer service people have an easier time doing their jobs. Who doesn't want that? So rounding up, if you deliver phase one, spend a few days working with the users and showing them in depth the information available to them in the CRM. You will achieve what we call a quick win. Spend those days one-on-one with sales and customer service. The minute they see their customer names in a list, you'll have their attention. Now click into your favorite customer account. Now show them the customer record from the accounting system and talk through the fields you see. The customer's credit limit, the outstanding balance. Is the customer on hold or not? Bang! You won't believe it, but you just hit a home run by showing 3 things they've begged for years. Why? Well, think about how many times they worked on a deal trying to sell an item to a customer that they spent weeks or months working on, and then they make the sale, and the next day accounting tells them, sorry, we can't accept your order because the customer is on hold due to a bunch of past due invoices, and the next order has exceeded the customer's credit limit. If only they knew about this up front. Well, now they will. But wait, it doesn't stop there. Dig a little deeper and drill into an invoice, now into the payments. For many salespeople, they only get paid commission when an invoice is paid, and now they have visibility. But more importantly, they or their customer service team can discuss the customer's open invoices, deliveries, shipping information, and so on. So you've achieved what ERP and software companies have talked about, but never delivered since the internet went mainstream back in the 90s. You are now entering the rockstar stratosphere with your sales and customer service teams. If you do this right, you will get CRM adoption rates to go up. Focus on the data visible to the users during this pause. The part that's equally as important to focus on is the CRM or e-commerce implementation during the pause. What does that even mean, CRM implementation? I thought we just did that. Nope. You just sync the data from ERP to CRM or to your e-commerce in phase one. But now, during your pause, this is where you're going to start to show the data to your CRM or e-commerce consulting group. This is often where I see the cart put before the horse. If you think about it, you would waste so much time meeting with your CRM consultants or e-commerce consultants, telling them all the stories about your business accounting system and the data in your ERP, and the way you designate data, the way you keep your inventory and these things called multiple warehouses, and so on and so forth. Just cut to the chase for yourself and for them. How do you do that? Well, get your phase one sync set up and get the data into the CRM or the e-commerce system. Become familiar with the data in the CRM. Now, invite the CRM consulting partner or e-commerce partner into your implementation meeting and explain your business processes, your product types, your customer types, your inventory, your billing processes, but more importantly, show them the identifying data on the screen as you do it. Don't just talk about it, show it, and show them the fields from the accounting system in the CRM or e-commerce system. As you go through the quote to cash implementation for your CRM or e-commerce, you're going to go over things like leads, opportunities, deals, quotes, orders, invoicing, and so on. You'll focus your time over this 2 to 6 week period on the implementation of the CRM or e-commerce specifically. Not the sync of the data from phase one, and not the sync of the data for phase two. You're essentially setting up and training people on how to use CRM and e-commerce, communicate with customers, how they're going to do this via the CRM and e-commerce system, how they're going to track, record, and measure their activities. So the final output of the CRM or e-commerce implementation is that an opportunity or a deal has been won for a new customer or an existing customer. And of course, for an e-commerce system, it's a shopping cart has been checked out. So when all that is ready, this is the typical jump-off point to start phase 2. You really shouldn't start phase 2 until you're at this point. Otherwise, you're not focusing on making phase 1 achievements a great success with the sales and customer success teams. And you also need your focus on the CRM and e-commerce implementation.